Michelle,
Okay.
we live yet?
Are we ready to go, Michelle?
She's talking to us and she's muted.
So typical. Yes, it's live, and according to my computer, it's still 6:29, but it's going to be awfully close.
Oh, okay, I'm looking.
Oh, mine says 6:30.
All right,
What is mine? Yeah, mine
go
does
ahead.
too.
You guys win.
Okay, different time zone for Michelle. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call this meeting together at 6:29, 6:30, whichever you want. I don't see Wes on the screen. Is he here?
Oh, I'm sorry, John. Yeah, Wes is not going to be here tonight.
Okay.
So I make a motion to excuse Wes.
I second it.
All in favor?
I
Aye. Okay, that passes. Can't do a pledge. Well, we could do a pledge of allegiance, but it'd be weird. Approval of the previous minutes. Everybody's had a chance to review them. Any comments, corrections, discussion?
I will make a motion to pass the previous minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay, we're approved. Citizens, I don't see Pam and Doug. Do they actually show up or do they
I think
email?
they have the link, so
Okay. We'll go ahead and skip them, seeing as how they're actually first on the agenda. Zoning inspectors report, anything to give us, zoning inspector / mayor / village
acting
administrator?
zoning inspector. Let's see.
Start calling you /.
As you'll see at the bottom of the agenda, I did get all the letters sent out that you guys wanted me to. The Scott Angle house sold in December, and I knew that Mark Miller was talking to Scott about purchasing that property. And when Mary Ann was looking for addresses to send out the letters to people on West Prospect about the road repairs that are going to start on March 15th, that's when we noticed that it had changed hands. So,
Great.
so that one. We have a couple pending permits. We have one for a swimming pool on Canada Road. We have a gentleman that's been calling, I think his name's Tim Tackus, Tackas, is considering buying the Middlefield Bank, the old Middlefield Bank. I've heard from Steve Thorne, who purchased the Claude Hopkins property. They should be moving into town, and he's been inquiring about his he's gonna need a variance for that property. Spoke with Rich Mockney. He's thinking and checking into putting a store in down under where Seats and Feet used to be, on the lower side of
Okay.
his building there.
Mhm.
There's lots of things, so yeah,
Fantastic.
Good. Good.
it's been busy. Okay, Doug and Pam are on now, John.
Hi there. I see him.
Oh, I figured you did.
Sorry for the delay. We were on another meeting. We had to pop out.
That's okay. We're just getting to you now. Any questions on the zoning report?
None.
No.
Okay, anything that we need is going to be on file. Okay, first thing on new business is the Maginey replat on lots 59, 60, and parts of 10, 11, 58, and 61. And I assume, Michelle, this is just a formality again? They needed a new one because somebody wanted it updated?
Right. This was, again, like last month, based on a really old survey. Then part was split off for ODNR to buy, and the tax map just wanted an update, proper boundary survey.
Okay, and I assume that
Okay.
everybody had a chance to review
Yep.
from the packet. Are there any questions or comments?
No,
Well-
not at all.
Do I have a motion to approve the plat as presented?
I'll
I'll
make
make
So
that
moved.
motion.
Everybody
I'll second.
motioned. Is there anybody left for a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
It's unanimous.
All
Okay.
eyes.
All
All
right.
ayes.
Okay, Pam or Doug, do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, actually, we just wondered from here, how quick then does that, what's the process that it gets to Portage County and then gets recorded?
Okay, what will happen is I will sign it in the morning and have the chair sign it tonight or in the morning before I leave. We will call Schwartz Surveying and they will send someone to pick it up. And I will have them contact you how soon they're going to take it down and get it recorded.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you're more
Thanks,
than welcome.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, I never heard from Schwartz until February 16th. If I would have known that there was an issue, we could have reached out to them and maybe expedited this a little more quickly. So everybody wasn't, you weren't holding everybody up. And Imagines have called me. They're wondering what was going on. So I think they understand. I'm going to call them after the meeting and let them know that it's been approved. So.
Okay, great.
Good.
Thank you. Yeah, this
Mhm.
Portage County kept rejecting it. And so they just kept resurveying.
Okay. Any other questions on that issue?
No,
Okay, we'll move on then. The Tom Van Auken property, not a lot to report on that. We've gotten some more discussion with Ryan and the potential for some more grant possibilities and whatnot. Of course, may all just change if somebody buys the property, which I think
Sure.
in the long run would be a nice thing for the village. You know, it keeps it as a revenue generating piece of property.
I agree.
So I guess we'll kind of hold and see how that one plays out.
Oh, and I probably should let planning know that and I know his last name is Takis. I think it's Tim, Jim, something like that. Is wanting to put a used car lot there. Just so everybody's aware.
okay.
Okay. Yeah, and the important thing for him is to understand the zoning, you know, the signage, things like that, lighting. I don't know if that's gonna make it an issue for him or not, but hopefully not.
I think we decided it was a conditional use. Is that right, Linda?
Yes.
Okay. So they'd have to get approval from Planning Commission to have it.
Okay. Making a note. Okay, on to the next item. We're supposed to be getting ready by next month on our sidewalk list for potential repairs throughout the village. I'm sure everybody's been busy. Those are the cutest grins.
We have been busy, but
Yeah. The snow finally melted.
Okay, weather's breaking, so hopefully we can get out there and start taking a
Yeah.
good look at, I mean, you don't have to walk too far in town to find sidewalk that needs work done.
right,
And
right.
Mary Ann and I talk about it at least a couple times a week. I'll say, as soon as I get some of this done in the office, then let's take a ride around town and look. And then things have just really been snowballing in the office. It's like, I feel like I'm buried.
Well, we're glad you're earning your money.
Yeah. That's why you
It
make the
wouldn't,
big
it wouldn't
bucks.
take much to earn my money.
Mayor, it's great to see how many storefronts are filled in town. I mean,
Yes,
so I apologize for you being busy, but it's wonderful.
right.
And just
Yes, it
remember,
is.
she's part-time. Think what would happen if she was full-time.
I don't know. My husband could tell you, I've probably been putting in 40+ hours a week.
You see that look on Jen's face, right, Gene?
Yeah.
Particularly a smile. Hey, if nothing else, I'm cooking really nicely.
Yes,
Oh.
he is.
All right, right on.
Yeah.
He's been cooking just about every night. And he doesn't want help and I have to just, he would even
Wow.
clean up, but I try to help him clean up.
That's awesome. Good.
Okay, that takes care of the new business. On to old business. Work on the fee for the rental inspection. I guess we're still on hold on that, all that item, those items?
As long as we can't let it, get anybody that they're gonna be able to go in people's houses, it's kind of a holding pattern till then.
Yeah.
Should we hold until, look at it in like September? And see if we can do that, start it back up and come September or the fall.
And
Have you-
maybe like in June, let's start maybe putting some feelers out. Kim Yule has not answered any of my emails about, are they still interested or anything, so.
Okay.
Well, and actually it was her husband that was the inspector, right?
Right,
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay,
I will make myself a note here to try again.
okay. Okay, and then that takes us right down the list of zoning maintenance issues. First Street, the building department's issued a permit. There hasn't been a lot of work there that I've seen. I know that there's still no wall in the basement. It's just covered up with a blue tarp.
Right, but at least they have a permit now.
Well, yeah, but at some point or another, that's going to become an attractive nuisance now that weather is clearing up and hopefully the little ones are allowed to get outside and play instead of being locked up inside. Lucas Randall, 4741 East Prospect. Shrubbery, I mean, there's more than shrubbery down there. That's Wince's house, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because, actually, I'm seeing a lot of soffit damage down there. Fascia's
Yes.
coming down. I've seen
Yep.
squirrels and other critters up in it. So at some point, that's going to get to be a pretty nasty thing. So they're either
Okay.
they need to do something. I hate to see a house like that.
Right.
blow
And I
down.
apologize, they did not get a letter.
Okay,
I
well,
will
that's
work on
okay.
that.
Okay. I see that the old doctor's office, John True gave them a zoning permit in
Apparently,
November.
John approved a zoning permit on November of 2020. And he has been working with Randy Roberts, the head of the building department, and says he wants to make this right since he did it without permit. So he's working with Randy now, and Randy's going to keep me in the loop.
Okay, well, that's one of my philosophies. It's easier to ask forgiveness than it is to ask permission.
Well.
Not that I do that often.
That's how I feel about the light poles. The flags and the hanging baskets.
Okay, that one's going over my head.
I'll
Yeah.
give you an update as soon as John's finished with the rest of these.
Okay.
Okay, Violet Spence is a new one, and that's actually just the home because Violet passed away. And I don't think it's been lived in since she passed away. And it's showing some serious disrepair also. They got a letter. Franklin Street, Lonnie Love Building, that's the blue building right behind the bank parking lot. Used to be Stan Kraft and Larry Liso's. That's showing a lot of disrepair, and we got a letter out to them.
Well, let me update you on that. They responded. He realizes that the property is in disrepair. He did start some repairs last fall before the weather change, and he has asked for an extension. So I granted him a 120-day extension and told him to keep us in the loop. And as long as we see that he's making progress, we'll keep extending it.
Okay.
Okay.
Main Street vacant lot, Jasco, that's the bottom of the old hotel, right?
Yes,
Okay.
next to Doc Grayson's old building.
Interesting note there. I just saw in Saturday's paper that Pleasant View Hall is up for IRS auction. So I don't know if that includes that piece of property.
It's two parcels.
Okay. Yeah, it just listed the hall as being up for auction.
The hall being the
Cross
The old
grocery
post
store.
office.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, next for up the hill from Doc Grayson's building on the same side. And I don't remember, I'm sorry, I don't remember when that is, maybe middle of April. So if anybody wants it,
Really?
you can get a deal on it, maybe.
yeah,
Make it like it used to be and put a new business in it.
yeah, bourbon bar.
Yeah.
Then you'd have a place to store all your kayaks.
Oh, a kayak bourbon bar. There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And then 10630 Main Street, the Snyder House, that's right on the corner of Mill Street and Main Street. And that, I'm surprised people live in there. It looks like it's falling down around them. The letter referred to the roof, rotted siding, soffit. That's a building we've talked about that where the siding is flying on
yeah,
the back end. Hopefully they're going to do something. I know we've had them attacked a couple times at different courts and just not a lot of things happen with them, unfortunately.
right.
And that's all that's on. Mary, do you want to give an update maybe on Aurora Vet or Manway Vet?
Oh, I called Sean Thompson from Manfred's office. I've been trying to do that once a month to see what the status is. And last month when I talked to him, I had told him that, wanted to know if she was going to be applying for the variance. And I said to let her know that she's going to be facing opposition from the residents, that they did not want it. And so she was going to think about it. And he had one brief conversation with her. She said she wants to be a good neighbor, so she is considering it. I have not seen the survey. She's had all of her property surveyed, and Sean has not seen the survey, but she made the comment. So again, this is gossip, okay? That she really wants to be a good neighbor, but apparently some of the other people's buildings are on her property. So I'd like to ask if I could have a copy of the survey, just for curiosity. I mean, there's nothing we could do about it. That's up to her to do something about it, so.
Well, I think you've got every right to ask, because at some point the village is going to be involved when there's going to be an issue, where it becomes a zoning issue or a planning issue or whatever. So I think the more information we have prior to the explosion, I think the better off the village will be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why she would not give it to you.
Right.
It's in her best interest, honestly, so. Okay, just go ahead.
And the other thing, and I guess this can come up at planning, we have the issue with Ohio Edison. Is this okay, Michelle, to tell them? Ohio Edison, one of our because my John doesn't know about this, I don't think. One of our residents had called Ohio Edison to see if they could put a flag on a flagpole. Ohio Edison responded, no, they could not. You cannot put something on their poles. And so we received a letter from Ohio Edison that they want us to sign an agreement or a contract. I'm not sure what the term is. What we needed to do was take a picture of every pole with the number showing and what is on that utility pole as far as flag, hanging basket, brass bracket, and the Christmas wreath, and how they are attached, because nothing is supposed to be nailed or bolted on their poles, because it's all supposed to be put on there through strapping of some sort. Like not zip ties, but
Right.
clamps, metal clamps of some sort. This week, the service department did get out and get all of that done. I've sent a letter or an email, I'm sorry, to Lisa Taddy to ask if we could set up a Zoom meeting with her tomorrow, Thursday or Friday morning, to see if we can get this resolved. I'll ask Michelle to chime in there is a clause in there that we had asked them to remove, having to do with, I'm gonna let Michelle explain that part to you, because I always say the word wrong.
Indemnification. We can't legally indemnify another entity, and they have a lot of protections in the contract language, even if that was out, as far as I'm concerned. I don't, but they refuse to take it out, and that's the sticking point.
And the other point on this is residents want the flags and the baskets and Christmas wreaths. I mean, I reached out to the chamber and to the DMRC to see if somebody could come up with some ideas of what we could do so we could still have hanging baskets, but in different locations or in pots on the ground and stuff. And the basic answer is they're coming up with a few ideas that nobody's happy with, and they think it's all BS and that we should try and work this out.
So
I don't
how
know.
much would I mean, I think it all comes down to what would the cost us, you know? And if if all the powers that be are willing to pitch in to pay for the insurance, then
Well,
I guess
I don't really think it's gonna cost us that much more on our insurance as far as our premium. I don't think. Then that's something, I thought Jenny had checked on that, but I'm not 100% certain.
It-
The biggest thing is if we don't do it and something were to happen that it blew out a transformer and we had a grid blackout or whatever you call it, and they could pinpoint it that, boy, it happened at Manaway at this pole at this time, we would be responsible to pay for the whole area's outages, not just the village, but the whole area that it expanded to. So
We
that's-
would, the village would, or whoever had whatever happened to be hanging on the pole would.
the village would be responsible.
And that
Well,
would
I
be
think
our
whoever
insurance.
puts something on the pole,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like if it's the high school that
yeah.
put up their banners or something like that.
Correct. Yeah.
And I guess that's something that we're gonna have to make sure, because the American Legion, you know, I've been working with them and they're willing to do whatever we can do. They're checking to change the angle of their flagpoles so that it puts them out further so it won't go back to the pole. But as far as, you know, if somebody wanted to put them on and it's the village's responsibility, then they definitely have to get the village's approval to put something on the poles through Ohio Edison on their own.
Is this why
Would
other
that be-
towns have lights on their main street, you know, lights going down on poles so that they can hang their own stuff?
The DMRC or somebody had even brought up us just putting up metal poles, fancy metal poles. Somebody told me, I might have been Jean that told me that, I can't
Apparently
remember.
not.
Like,
Somebody was telling me that Cleveland had taken down a bunch of poles and they're all at some holding place that could be purchased, or maybe they would give them to the village. But then there's the expense of installing them, because you couldn't just bolt them on the sidewalk. You'd have to dig
Right.
down and put the footer, and so I don't know. It just seems in my little brain, let's see what we could see if we can work something out with Ohio Edison. So
It's crazy that we are targeted for this, you know?
Well,
When you
eventually
drive
everybody
around
will.
Northeast Ohio.
Well, I think we would have received it sooner or later, probably later, if we hadn't raised the red flag to ask to put a flag up.
Right,
Because
I
I've
know, I'm
talked to
just-
other
when you-
communities and they haven't heard anything yet.
right. I mean, you
Yep.
drive through Aurora around Christmas time and it looks like, you know, Santa's playland.
A
Every
lot of
pole.
cities are like that. Yeah. Twinsburg's another big one. I mean, I think Twinsburg even, I think, hangs them across the street, pole to pole and stuff.
Yep.
So I'm sure they're just starting I mean, Ohio Edison is probably just starting, piece by piece, as they go.
Well, that's another one of those instances. It's better to ask forgiveness than it is to get permission.
Now you know where I was going with that when you said that.
Well, and I understand what you're saying, but
Yes.
if we don't do this contract
No, I know.
and we
I
do
know.
it, I mean, we could be up the creek, up the kayak without a paddle.
Well, Michelle, what happens if they won't release the indemnity clause?
Oh, they won't. They've already told us
They've
that.
already told us they
Okay.
won't, and I'm not going to recommend that the village enter into a contract with an illegal clause in it. I mean, basically, to have an indemnity clause, we would have to have all the money that it could cost us appropriated, and the contract needs to provide us with consideration equal to the amount that we could be on the hook for. There's an attorney general's opinion on this. It's from a few years ago, and it's kind of convoluted. But I guess the issue that I see is if we can't enter the contract and we do the attachments anyway, and something terrible happens, I don't think our insurance is going to cover us because we're doing something outside of a contract without permission when we could have been in a contract and
Right.
covered. So it really opens us up for some risk that I'm concerned about. And there's other provisions in the agreement that would allow them to be on our insurance, and we would insure them and we would cover them and carry all the liability. Just taking out that one indemnification clause, which to me it's just superfluous. It's not necessary because there's so many other safeguards in place. So I think they're being inflexible, and I understand if they, start taking pieces out of their agreement for one municipality, then everybody's going to ask, and it's a rabbit hole that I guess they don't want to go down. They're happier not to have agreements with people.
All right, I keep my mouth shut. I was going to make a smart ass remark, so that's already been done in Columbus.
Well, we could always look to see how many polls, Mr. Clark, when you're out on your walks in the morning, that are not Ohio Edison polls, that might be AT&T or cable polls that we might be able to use.
Do we know that that's not the same situation?
Most of their polls, AT&T, like any of those companies, 99% of the time are actually hanging on the same poles as Ohio Edison. Not always, but almost all of them usually are.
Yeah, going down Main Street, there aren't very many. I know there's one in our front yard. There's one in front of Wheeler's Insurance. I mean, there's not a whole lot. Gene's right that most of that stuff is all supported as long as it's lower than the electric lines. And I'm sure that they lease the spot too.
Yeah.
If something happens to the pole, I think it's all.
And that's the thing, most of our stuff is low enough that it would have to physically break free and fly up and hit it. It wouldn't be just like a flag flipping up and still be in the flag holder and hitting it. They're far enough away. So I don't know. I'm going to do my due diligence and at least try and speak to them again.
Okay, and everybody that has things on the poles is aware of the situation now?
I had called the school and
Okay,
I had called Ohio Edison. When I reached out to DMRC, because I thought maybe I was thinking maybe we could put the flag poles and the hanging baskets on the storefronts. While it still wouldn't be as nice as being on the poles, we'd still have it. And no one responded that they thought that was a good idea. It was more like, let's take our concrete trash cans and turn them into containers to hold the flowers, and then buy all new trash cans. Then the idea of the poles out of Cleveland. So.
well, think
and-
back in the end of the day, in the business district, if you walk down the sidewalk on either side, you go toward the curb, you're going to see about an 1.25 inch, 1.5 hole in sidewalk in front of every business that we used to plant flags in those holes every morning in front of every business. I mean, I guess that's another option, is to go back to the 1960s and 1970s.
Yes,
We just had to make sure the pole was high enough so the flag didn't interfere with vehicles when they
Traffic.
parked, or slap people in the face when they're walking. And I mean, that would take, something like that
you
would take care
you
of the
should remember
business.
that, Scott.
Yeah, I do. I didn't know that you guys did that every morning. I thought they were just up there.
Well, just, yeah.
No,
Well,
they-
we had no
people-
lights
people
on,
would
so we
steal
brought them in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's an option for the business district.
And the other thing is I thought I saw in the minutes from the DMRC that they were going to be purchasing more banners for the school. So I'm going to have to speak with Mr. Toth again and remind him that at this point, we
You can't put them up.
couldn't be putting anything on the, I don't want the DMRC expending their money on something that they can't put on the poles.
Okay.
Yeah, this stinks.
It does. And I hate to keep, I would hate to add more to the sidewalks, another trash can, and then it was
Yeah.
just junky, right? Because then you just have
You know,
that
way
bug.
back before the hanging baskets, I don't know, Linda, if you remember, but the old planters, the garden club planted them. They paid my buddy at Manaway Gardens. They hauled them all up to Manaway Gardens and he planted them. And then I helped him haul them all back down here and put them back in place after he planted them all. And those were the old concrete ones. And they
Yeah,
waited.
those old concrete urns, yes.
Yeah, we had to move them with a tree dolly. And we put them, I can't even remember who told us to put them where, but we put them everywhere they wanted us to put them. By the end of the summer, you would not believe how many complaints Darren got, because he put sweet potato vines, and those planters were beautiful. And the sweet potato vines were growing too big over the planters and onto the sidewalk. And he was like, I'll never do it again. I said, I don't blame you. He said, nah, I'll never plant them for him again. Because it was just stupid, but they were on the sidewalk. So like Tammy said, it was kind of crowding the sidewalk, but prune them.
Right.
Prune them. Don't complain about it. Prune them. You're the garden club. But yeah, so that didn't go well. So I'm not a fan of putting those out either, honestly. But
Well, sure, because we have 11 hanging baskets. So if we put 11 containers on the sidewalk, and then we put out the 7 trash cans that the Kimball picks up, or whatever trash company we would have at that time picked up. I mean, where are people going to walk?
right.
And then
Yeah.
still, you'd have to find a way to attach the flags to these planter boxes. And I could just see the kids ripping them off.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with that negotiation. I hate to be the test case for Northeast Ohio and Ohio Edison,
Yeah, right.
Well,
but it looks like we're gonna be.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you where, I'll ask you, John, where did we go to that family picnic of yours? Lake Berlin or something like that?
No, it was mosquito. Give me a day and it'll come to me. I was gonna say
Anyhow.
Lake Milton.
Yes, thank you, Lake Milton.
Anyhow, this has happened already in a community in Ohio, that their community was with a blackout or a grid out or whatever because of something like this happening. So
Okay.
I can't remember. Shall you remember the company or the village or community? She told us what it was. I can't remember off the top of my head. I thought it was Berlin Lake or something like that.
I don't remember
know.
what community it was. I'm sorry.
So,
All right. Well, we'll just keep trying, right?
Yeah.
We can do.
Since Wes isn't here, I had sent to you guys a copy of Mr. Patel's permit.
Yes.
Because we started getting into a conversation at the very end, at the end of the meeting. And regarding, I wasn't sure what Wes's whole issue was when we were talking about it, but just to bring you guys up to speed, another business coming into town. You know how the Quick Mart has the sign by the road and the sign on the building? Well, then there
Mhm.
used to be a sign that says, welcome members on the wall. It's like maybe 4x8 or it's pretty big. Well, he went and had a sign painted on that said cigarettes, lottery, something else, and hiring within. Well, I called him and said, you know, that's a sign you put up without a permit. He says, well, there was one there. So you took it down to paint it. You know, now it's not allowed to go back up without a permit. But I want to let him know that if he leaves it there, this gentleman that has called us that is going to be putting a sub shop in there would not have space to put up a sign. So there's going to be a sub shop going in there. And then I told him about he has to watch how many of those Marlboro light signs that are on the post and stuff. And I also went down and told the marathon station that they might be receiving a letter if we see an overabundance of these things that are going wild.
Right.
So
Okay.
the only thing Mr. Patel said was, this isn't the 17th century anymore. We should be allowed to do what we want to do. And I said, well, I don't make the rules. Zoning and council make the rules. I just have to let you know what they are. We don't want to hurt your business. We want to encourage our businesses, but we have regulations.
Well, this
So I
is
guess we'll have to
2021 and it's social media. It's social media now, not signboard.
Oh, okay. So everybody keep this part of the packet for when Wes is here next month, so we can get a full take on what he was starting to go on about at the end of the meeting last time.
Okay.
That's all I got,
I
Chairperson.
have,
Anybody else got anything for this meeting
Yeah.
tonight?
I do. And I'm going to bring this up here because I feel like it's more of a question than anything, but I feel like this might be we are in a violation of our own maintenance code. And that is at the park, that old brick structure, whatever that is, to the east side of the back pavilion, the first pavilion, has the light pole standing in it. What was that for, Linda?
That is where we have our time capsule put in.
Okay.
That was in our risk management thing to address.
Okay.
I have reached out to Jeff Benner and to Rich Bretz
Okay.
to give me a quote on either repairing it or tearing it down and replacing it.
Okay.
One of the options that Jeff Benner gave me was the kind of brick it is. And I know I don't have this right in my head. I thought he said over time after getting wet, if you don't seal it or something, that it crumbles. It's old Ohio brick or something like that.
Yep.
He said what he could do, one of the options is put some kind of a mesh on it to hold that in place and then put something on the outside to make it look pretty again.
And plaster, apparently.
Plastered
just
or something.
plaster. Yeah.
But no,
Good.
that is on that. Yes, that's on our thing from the insurance company. That is a hazard that has to be done. So we have to have a plan for that by April 15th, April 16th.
Okay.
All the items that they told us, they're minor. Most of them are minor, like chip paint on the playground equipment. So we have to sand and paint those areas and different things.
Yeah, but our guys can take care of
Yes.
that stuff. It's just one,
Yes.
I mean, that thing is in bad shape. I mean, that
Yes.
definitely needs repaired. And I know it gets vandalized. I know it gets spray painted, or it has in the past been spray painted, but yeah, that one's on us. You know?
Yes, yes. Because I think we had like about 6 things on our risk management. Most of them had to do with the playground. That was one of them. Excuse me.
Okay,
And the one of the stalls is what I call them down at the service garage. You know, we have the salt shed and then we have the other ones. Not all of them have roofs on them. Well, one of them, the front portion has rotted wood. He wants that rotted wood repaired.
okay.
So we have a list. We've made up work orders for the service department. I figure we probably have a good 2 weeks worth of work down at the park now that weather's breaking. So
All right.
we have started
But you're-
ordering the things that we need to do it.
They're giving you a quote Jeff's giving you a quote on repairing that?
Jeff's gonna get, supposed to be dropping it off, and then Rich Brett's. If
Okay.
anybody knows of a third person that I could call and talk to, or wants to reach out to somebody and have them contact me, that would be great.
Okay.
Doug has a question about Dollar General.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering who we would contact if we had questions about like the construction that's going on. It looks like they're crossing over onto our property. The silt fence is way over, a couple feet over. Do we talk to the village engineer? Should we talk to CT people? Should we go to?
Well, I responded to Pam's thing,
Okay.
and the Gene, who's on at the meeting with us now, went down there, and the silk fence is 2 feet from your property line.
Yeah.
The other way,
It's-
away from your
It's north,
property.
it's north of your property, 2 feet north of your property line.
No, not anymore.
It's been moved,
Or it appears to have been moved.
correct? And that may have happened with their construction, with their machinery digging out. It looks like it's shifted about 4 feet over, so. Is it possible to have somebody, Gene, come down and take a look again, or I can put
You
up,
mean- Do you think it moved, you mean recently, like they've moved it now closer to your property, you mean?
over the property
It
line? Yeah.
appears to be over the property line now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was out there.
But
Shoot,
well, it was the day that Pam had,
Yeah.
Pam, the first time you
Was
even,
that-
he was down there that afternoon and checked it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I made it a point to go and look at it immediately for you.
It was the day they put it up. We responded there.
Pam,
I
we
can't hear you.
Okay,
Oh.
Sorry.
so it has moved since then.
Oh.
Yeah.
By the way, so let me ask you a question. If you're standing out, like if you're standing out at the road, you know how there's those evergreens, those are like arborvitaes there. So if
Yeah.
you're standing out at Main Street and you're looking at the arborvitae, so your property's to the right, Dollar General's to the left, there's a your property pin is there, and I think if I remember right, let's say knocked it out. There's a wood lath. It's a piece of wood about 2 feet tall, and I
Mhm.
think they have a ribbon on it. That's your property line. I mean, at the front. So then, if you kind of look down, you can kind of look down to the trees. So you think now that fence has moved more to your side?
Yes, sir. A couple of feet, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can
Um,
live with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk to the people doing the work if you want me to. That I have no problem approaching them.
No, we can have somebody check it out.
I just didn't
Yeah.
know who I should go through. Through you guys, through the village to do that? Is that, or should I just talk to them? I mean, I can do that.
I would recommend, if you don't mind me asking, I would recommend that you always contact, I think you're doing it right, asking the village, because
Okay.
you don't want to, I mean, you know how that is. Contractors are just
Yeah.
doing their thing, and then they're going to be
Totally.
all like, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. You're fine. And then, people get mad and all that stuff. So yeah, Mayor, I'll make it a point to go out there tomorrow then, and I'll look.
I can try to meet him. What time might you be out? Do you think I can try to meet you, Gene?
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Still couldn't hear you.
She said, what time do you think you would come out? She could meet you, Pam can meet you tomorrow.
Oh, I did, what's tomorrow's what, Wednesday? I'm available all day, so I was just gonna play it by ear,
Morning,
maybe.
okay, Pam? So morning would be better for Pam. if that's
Okay.
possible.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Do you want me to call you?
Yes, please. Yes.
Do you want to give me your phone number?
Yes, it's 216-469-1122. That's Pam's cell. That's pretty good, eh?
216-469-1122.
Correct.
And real quick, let me just give you mine.
Okay.
You have a pen?
Yes.
Three,
yes,
three,
there you go.
330 603 7744.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
if, he'll check that out tomorrow, but if you have issues, go ahead and email me and I usually give him a call and then I drive by and see what I can see myself, which is not, he told me where to look for the poles and stuff, but he's the inspector on the project, so.
Thank you.
Trying to keep
Welcome.
everybody happy.
Okay, is there anything else, anybody?
I think I'm all good.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I assume it's gonna be unanimous.
It
All
is.
eyes.
All eyes.
I'm showing
Okay.
7:16.
That's what I have.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Good night,
Y'all
All right,
take
everybody.
care.
Good night.